the Vault Excel, everyone. Thank you. This is live number one. There are some vile allegations against David Copperfield. There's been a long-standing investigation into these allegations, and a news entity has vetted a version or two or more. They believe the allegations from at least the one that was 17 years of age in 1988. Did this woman come forward, or young girl come forward after the allegation, or when did she come forward to say that Mr. Copperfield touched her inappropriately? There are allegations of him grooming girls. So it's not just women, it's also underage girls. Does he have a penchant for young girls? Has he sexually assaulted, groped, drugged anyone recently? News Nation is the source. Thank you for joining me.
But remember, it's not the first time that we've heard of alleged misconduct at the hands of David Copperfield. You might remember back in 2007, a woman named Lacey Carroll accused Copperfield of raping her on his private island. But I want to begin right now with Itai Hodge. So I'm so happy to have him here. He's a reporter with KPIX, and in 2019, he broke the Copperfield story while he was a senior reporter with The Wrap. Itai, thank you so much for coming on. I have to ask you, your reaction to this Guardian article, and why do you think it's coming out now of all times?
Yeah, when we did the story in 2018, we had spoken to this one young woman who said that she was also drugged and raped when she was 17 years old. So this comes as no surprise to people who have followed this case.
So he spoke to someone in 2018. That's a few years back, 6 years ago. So she was a minor at the time. I don't know if this is the same one that he met, who was a model, and he was a judge on a talent show, and she lived in Utah, and he sent for her, or had her, fly out to California where he was performing, and then he sexually assaulted her, drugged her, sexually assaulted her. I don't know if that's the same one. We will hear that information. Thank you for joining me.
Why it's coming now, it's because The Guardian has been interviewing all these women for the last 3 years. I think they started this investigation back in 2019, so not long after we published our story. It just takes a long time. These are women who have gone through a lot. I can tell you that it was a difficult thing to bring to publish back then. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of worries of retribution. This is a man who makes a lot of money, is very powerful in the entertainment industry, makes millions and millions of dollars a year and sells billions of dollars of tickets. So it's understandable that some of these women will take some time before they're willing to come forward. I can tell you that the woman who did come forward, when I spoke to her, was hoping that more women would come forward then, but it's a difficult thing to do.
And Itai, just to be clear, nothing came from this? There were no criminal charges? Were there any kind of lawsuits? What stemmed from these accusations back in the day before the Guardian piece?
Yeah, so in the 2018 case, the statute of limitation had already expired. The woman had filed a complaint with the FBI in 2007. And in these cases, especially when we were talking about underage accusers, they get a year after they file a complaint, and then a statute of limitation closes. So that's why there were no charges brought against him in the 2018 case. In the 2007 case, the case closed with no charges because, again, the FBI gave no reason as to why there were no charges or why nothing happened out of that investigation. I can tell you that when we spoke to experts at the time, and I think even the DA at the time said that in these cases it usually stems from either not having enough proof to prove those charges beyond a reasonable doubt, or in some cases it's because of a jurisdictional issue. In this case, it was in the Bahamas, so that could have played into it, but we don't really know. There was no explanation given, and when we contacted the FBI, they would not comment.
Itai, Brittany Lewis, met David Copperfield 1988. Can you briefly summarize what her account was? Because it's one of the more one of the more compelling ones, or it's one of the more, I should say, it's kind of hard to believe what happened to her so long ago, and we're talking about it now in 2024 again, but such a compelling account. Can you tell us what Brittany Lewis said?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that because her story is so incredible that I think that played against her as well. People had a hard time believing that anything like this could happen. She was a young model. She was a contestant in Look of the Year, which was a huge modeling competition by Elite Modeling Agency, the biggest modeling agency at the time. He was one of the judges. He took a liking to her, gave her his number, they exchanged information, and when she got back to Utah where she lived, he invited her to a show that he had in California. She didn't remember at the time whether it was in San Diego. She thought it was, she wasn't sure. We checked to see if he had any performances in San Diego at the time when that happened, and there were. So we vetted her story completely. She said essentially that he had to ask her grandmother for permission. She was her caretaker because she was still 17 at the time. The grandmother told us, we spoke to her, she said that at first she was hesitant, but he got on the phone with her and make her feel better about it.
Right.
They went to California and he got a room. He got 2 rooms for her, one next to each other with a connecting door. She said they went out drinking. Everything was great. She was having a wonderful time. At one point, she said that he had mixed something in her, poured something, hit his drink or something. Yeah. She said she asked him what he was doing. He said he was sharing something, I don't know. But she said that moment she took one sip, and after that everything kind of went fuzzy. All she has is flashbacks of him peeling off her clothes, and essentially she said she was free.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
News Nation is the source. So ask yourself this, because this is all just, once again, redundancy with these entertainers, sportsmen, famous people, always wanting to be in the company of women, number one. Always groping, always attraction to a young girl, underage. What is the deal with being attracted to a child? Please explain to me. Because I don't understand. How you as an adult can be attracted to a child, whether you're a woman or a man. I don't understand a woman being attracted to a boy child, nor a man being attracted to a girl child. What is it? How long has he been doing this? Because just because you hear an allegation from 2007, 6, one is going all the way back to 88, that's like 36 years ago. So that would take you back, depending on how old he is, he's been doing this type of behavior a very long time. Then you have to wonder if he was doing it before he became famous. Because just don't wake up and start groping people, sending nasty messages to people, stalking people, being attracted to children, sexual assault, putting agents in drinks, beverages. You've had this propensity for vile behavior probably since you were a young person. So what the hell is wrong with Mr. Copperfield? Do you believe the allegations against Mr. Copperfield? Please take the poll on my community page, because I would like to reveal that before I end this live stream. Do you believe the allegations against David Copperfield? Let's get a little more information pertaining to the allegations. Thank you for joining me. Following past allegations of sexual assault, magician David Copperfield is facing a flurry of new sexual misconduct claims. Copperfield is the subject of an extensive investigation conducted by The Guardian's U.S. edition, published Wednesday. The investigation examines the damning allegations of numerous women who claim the famed illusionist sexually assaulted them or behaved inappropriately during their interactions. In total, 16 women have come forward and accused Copperfield of sexual abuse, lewd conduct, including grooming, groping, drugging, and rape. Many of the women are identified in the investigation using pseudonyms to protect their identities. You also hear the women were worried about intimidation. Now, someone would look at him and say, he doesn't look like the type that would try to bribe or hurt or harm or send a henchman, because one, looks are deceiving. And if a person gets wind that they are being investigated or accused of a crime such as this, SA and groping, drugging. Oh, they're capable of anything. And back then, he was a very thin guy, probably looked kind of nerdy to some people, and some people would probably assume, he wouldn't do anything. I don't know if I believe that. But that's the point. You don't know them, so you can't say what a person would or would not do. The fact that a grandmother would let her child fly to California with a strange man. See, this is where this is that R. Kelly syndrome. Well, he's famous. He's helping with the music career, this and that. He wouldn't do anything. Oh, but he did. Now, in this case, you're hearing the same scenario. He's baiting the grandmother to have this young girl go over to California from Utah to do what? So see, that's where sex trafficking comes in. You're luring someone from state to state for sexual interactions, rape, so on and so forth. You have no business taking the child anywhere. Let me repeat that. You met her during a competition, if it's the same young lady, modeling competition. You took a fancy to her. If you wanted to invite her somewhere to a show, be a guest in the show, or just watch the show, she should have been accompanied by an adult, and that's where the grandmother made a mistake. You had no business allowing a grown man to take your child, not even across the street, for ice cream or candy. Because that's the whole point of a crime. Out of sight, out of mind. Once your child is out of sight, you don't know what they're doing. You give permission for them to go with an adult or other children, you don't know what's going on. No different than being an adult and going with another adult somewhere. Once you are out of sight, anything can happen. So allegedly he takes this child to California. They're going out having a good time. What is the part that you heard in this commentary that's even more baffling besides a child going from Utah to California with a grown-ass man? They were drinking. Oh, we were having a great time until... I'll come again. Why would you, one, as I said, take a child from state to state, adjoining rooms in a hotel? Bad decision. Take a child out drinking. Bad decision. Nobody noticed this grown-ass man out in public with a kid? See, this is what I'm talking about. Crazy nonsense. And at the end, I'm going to share a story with you about seeing a young girl in a restaurant one late night after I was at a bar at the IHOP off Kingston Pike in Knoxville. And I don't know, something bugged me about the young girl sitting at the table with this white man. She was an Asian girl. She was young. And when I mean young, I don't even mean teenage. I mean younger than a teenager. Like 12. Somewhere in there. But we'll get to that story later. Let's finish this commentary. Thank you all so much for joining me. Once again, the women have used pseudonyms to protect their identities. Attorneys for Copperfield have denied the women's allegations and said Copperfield has never, ever acted inappropriately with anyone, let alone anyone underage. A representative for Copperfield said the allegations against the magician are the exact opposite of who David is in an email statement to USA Today. Yes, of course you would say that. David has a record of risking his career to help protect women from powerful predators, the statement read. Most of these historic accusations have been made before, and all of them are as false now as they were then. David requested the evidence upon which these false allegations claim to rely, and this has not been provided. Well, of course, they can't provide the evidence. If they never filed a report, and then they waited years to say something, what evidence would they have? They would only have evidence of clothing, such as in the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton scenario. She kept something with bodily fluid on it. And then one could say, well, okay, that's his fluid on there, but it doesn't prove anything. Well, it would if it was a minor. Because let's be truthful. Semen has no business on anyone's clothing underage. Checkmate. Just saying. He said that because he knew nobody could bring forward any proof. Very savvy, Mr. Copperfield, but predictable. By contrast, whenever U.S. law enforcement has looked into such matters, they have been investigated thoroughly, and it has been found that there is simply no case to answer. Woman alleges David Copperfield groomed her when she was a teen. Carla, who claimed she was 15, even younger. When she met Copperfield at a show in 1991, she was approached by the magician after briefly appearing in his performance as a special guest. So this is probably how he lures them in. Oh, she's pretty, she's nice looking, I'm attracted to her. Let me see if she would like to be a part of the show. And then after that, see, this is baiting and grooming. Get her in, have her part of the show. Who wouldn't be fascinated to be a part of a magic show of a famous magician? A lot of young girls would. Even a guy would probably be fascinated. Say, oh, I was on the David Copperfield show. But little do you know, he has other sinister things in mind. So once again, she met him at a show in 1991 and briefly appeared in a performance as a special guest. Despite being underage at the time, Carla alleges Copperfield took her phone number and promised to take the teen out for dinner when she turned 18. See, that's grooming right there. Oh, you're so nice, but I'd rather wait until you turn 18. Oh my gosh, I could throw up. Copperfield allegedly kept in touch with Carla by sending the young woman notes and gifts, as well as frequently making phone calls to her family home. Grooming, grooming, grooming. After attending another Copperfield performance when she was 17, Carla claims the magician invited her to his limousine, where he allegedly kissed the teen and pushed her head towards his crotch. I'll say it again, Quinn. Pushed her head towards his crotch, when she took to mean she should perform oral sex on him, quote unquote. The woman alleges she later had penetrative sex with Copperfield, who was 37. Let's go back up to that age again. Okay, somebody in the back is asleep. She was 17. He's now having oral sex with a young girl, and he's 37 years of age. So, or 18 rather, let me repeat that again. It says, the woman alleges she later had penetrative sex with Copperfield, who was 37 at the time, after she turned 18. So to me, it doesn't make a difference. Oral sex at 17, full sex at 18. Sex is sex. So I guess in his mind, he thought, well, she's just putting her mouth on my private part. It's no big deal at 17, but I'll wait till she's 18 and I'll penetrate her. Okay, I'm dead. While she describes their relationship as consensual, Carla also noted the power and financial imbalance between them. I was a young schoolgirl infatuated with a man who was famous, and I think he used that to benefit him, Carla told The Guardian. Why would he continue to reach out to me through those years if he wasn't planning on pouncing as soon as I turned 18? Exactly. Very smart. She knew that much. Copperfield's lawyers denied the grooming allegation to The Guardian and called his relationship with Carla a wholly lawful 4-year consensual relationship 30 years ago. Oh, but you don't think it's a crime, him having sex, oral sex with a 17-year-old. Okay. Wow. Unbelievable. Typical lawyer. Typical defense lawyer. A woman alleges David Copperfield drugged and raped her after Las Vegas show. Gillian alleges she met Copperfield in the early 1990s when she was invited to join the illusionist on stage during a performance at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. So as you see, this is a trait of Copperfield. Because everybody is now, these women, I'm on the second story, and it's the same thing. A guest at the show. So obviously he's panning the audience looking for a victim. Instead of him doing the damn performance, all that money you're paying to go see him, you think he's up there, giving you fake magic. When all along, he's not doing magic. He's there to look out into the audience to see who he can find so he can do some dirty tricks with her later in a hotel or a limousine or the side of a building. Old dirty, dusty bat. Disgusting. Where was I? Please, don't mind the queen. Once again, it's the early 1990s. He invited the young lady on stage for a performance at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Following the performance, Gillian and a friend were waiting in line for an autograph from Copperfield when the magician's assistant approached them and asked if they wanted to have a drink with Copperfield after his next performance. Once again, now we have people being used to bait the victim. R. Kelly. We got a white version, black version. Oh, I love it. The women were purportedly invited to Copperfield's hotel suite. So now we've gone from going to a show, getting autographed, some assistant coming up to give information, bait and switch. Now we're going to a hotel suite where they each were given a glass of sambuca to drink. However, after having the drink, Gillian claims she began to feel physically weird and subsequently blacked out for a while. So what was her friend doing while she's blacked out? Were they both blacked out? Because it says each were given a glass of sambuca to drink. So were both of the women incapacitated? Gillian, who was in her 20s at the time of the alleged incident, said she recalls patches of Copperfield sexually assaulting her and her friend while lying in the magician's bed. So obviously he had two of the girls. Oh, he's greedy. I get a 2 for 1. Wow. I am 56 years old now, Gillian told The Guardian. Never in my life have I had a time where I don't consciously remember a period of time. I would never just say this to somebody if I didn't truly, honest to God, believe that I was drugged at the time. Lawyers for the magician told The Guardian no such claims or complaints were ever made about him to Caesar's Palace, where he then had a residency, or elsewhere in relation to such alleged misconduct. They added that drugs are not a part of his world. Well, nobody said he took the drugs, Dodo Bird. Allegedly, he gave the women drugs. That's to incapacitate them so they don't fight him off. No, stop, don't do that. I don't want to do this. I thought we were just going to talk, have some fun. I'm not trying to have sex. That's the purpose of drugging the person. So they don't say no. So they don't fight you off. So you don't have to have, what would we say, bodily injuries from a struggle. Wow. David Copperfield accused of groping teen on stage during performance. This is number 3, everyone. Lily, who attended a performance of Copperfield's around 1993. So here we go again, another person in the audience. Do you all see this is a trend? This isn't even your average, oh, I met the football player at the bar, or I saw him at the mall and asked for his autograph. This is an MO. I'm on situation number 3, and it's the same MO. Woman in the audience. Woman brought up on stage. Invited someone as a guest to be in the show. All right, 1993. She was selected to join the illusionist on stage to perform a magic trick, says Lily. The routine required Copperfield to place his arms around Lily, who was 14 or 15 at the time, while they both held onto a rope. While holding the rope, the woman alleges Copperfield's forearms went up and down on my chest pretty hard while he was talking and performing the trick. So he wants to get off even while performing the illusion. Okay. I kind of spaced out and froze, Lily told The Guardian. I felt really gross and embarrassed. So let's ask this question. Is there anybody in the United States that remembers this incident on stage and thought, damn, he's groping that girl? Just saying. Copperfield's lawyers denied to The Guardian that the rope trick described by Lily involves any unlawful touching. This trick has been performed in front of tens of millions of people over many years, with tens of thousands of audience members on stage, not to mention cameras and security at all angles without any complaint ever being made, the lawyer said. The lawyer needs to stop talking. Just please stop talking. David Copperfield previously accused of sexual assault. Copperfield became the subject of a 2-year investigation by the FBI after a woman named Lacey Carroll alleged in 2007 that the magician raped her on his private island, per The Guardian. The investigation was dropped in 2009 with little explanation. Carroll also dropped her sexual assault against Copperfield, according to People magazine and Associated Press via Today.com. In a statement, Carroll said at the time that Copperfield's team subjected her to intense scrutiny and constant surveillance, while her family, friends, and co-workers had been besieged with subpoenas and demands for personal information. Another woman named Brittany Lewis alleged she was drugged and sexually assaulted by Copperfield in 1988 when she was 17-year-old aspiring model, the Wrap reported in 2018. The alleged assault took place after she completed a modeling contest in which Copperfield was a judge. Now, this is the story of the girl I'm speaking of that lived in Utah, and he sent for her and took her to California, and they had adjoining rooms in California to see one of his shows. And she was living with her grandmother at the time. Copperfield, then 32, so he is 15 years older than her at the time, everybody. Reportedly invited Lewis to a show in California and later poured something into her drink in a bar. Lewis says she blacked out, but the woman remembers him taking her clothing and performing sexual acts on her in a hotel room. So I bet that's where oral sex comes in this story as well. Lewis said she reported her claims to the FBI in 2007 and was not seeking a financial statement. Andrea Mandel is the contributor from USA Today for this content. If you or someone you know has experienced sexual violence, RAIN's National Sexual Assault Hotline offers free, confidential, 24/7 support to survivors and their loved ones in English and Spanish at 800-656-HOPE, which is 4673, and hotline dot capital letters RAIN dot lowercase org, and in Espanol, RAIN, RAINN.org/ES dot. US Today is the source of this information. So far, there are 16 claims of allegations against David Copperfield. I have read you at least 4 in this commentary. And they all have similar MOs by Mr. David Copperfield. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. Chris, hello. Honey, I've been trying to reach you. How are you? Hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining me. This is so typical, these allegations. And the one reason that people will decide not to believe them, whether they're a woman or a man, because you have women who also aid, pedophiles, sadists. Well, he could get any woman he wants. I don't know how many times I've heard this from people. He's famous, he's handsome, he's nice looking. Oh, so a handsome guy can't put a Mickey in a drink. So you all are basically saying, for those of you who are ignorant, and to me, you're a sadist, because if you aid a sadist, to me you're a sadist as well. That's just how I feel. You're saying, well, he's nice looking, so a woman should be glad he's making a pass at her, interested in her, raping her. That's what you're saying. That because he's nice looking, because he's famous, because he's well known, that a woman should, one, be honored to be in his company, honored he's attracted to her, honored that he wants to rape her, assault her, torture her. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Because that's the most idiotic, vile commentary to say about a human being. Why would he do that? What do I always say about crime? Don't ask why, ask why not. They do it because they can. There have been many criminals who will tell you during an interview, I don't know why I did it. I just did it. You're entitled to believe that or not. But you can best believe when it comes to sexual assault, also drugging to sexual assault of human, it's already been planned out. When he eyes the prey, whether he's a minor or an adult, when he, the sadist, eyes the prey, he has put a plan in motion and follows through and does not care about the risk nor the ramifications for the act. It is shameful to even think of a man, he's probably damn near, 70 years old, being this type of human being. But you continuously see stories in the news of women, men, children coming forward with allegations of sexual improprieties, groping, sexual talk, lewd acts, sending of pictures, asking of pictures, introducing a person, children to porn, just nasty. And you have all types of people who are walking beside you, around you, with this type of mindset. And that's what's so baffling, because every day you keep hearing these horrible stories of crimes against people, whether it be attempted murder, torture, fraud, sadism, pedophilia. And the first thing you say to yourself is, dear God, how could this be going on? What is wrong with these people? Why do we keep hearing these horrible stories of man, woman hurting each other, children hurting children, children hurting adults? South Side. Because people don't care. And they've been showing these pictures of he and the wife. I don't know if they're still married or not. Beautiful lady. What could she be saying if he's still married? What could she be saying to herself? Let me do a little research right quick before I leave this live to see if he is currently married. You look at her and you're saying to yourself, well, he's got a beautiful wife. Was he committing these crimes while married? Usually they do. Have a wife, a girlfriend, also have children. Let's ask that. Does Mr. Copperfield have any children? Oh, my father would never do that. He's not that type of guy. It's just like you're hearing that the lawyer and representative say the same thing. Oh, he's a champion of women and rights, and give it a rest. Wasn't that the same thing we heard about the Subway guy? The guy was doing the Subway commercials. 67 years of age. So that means he'll be 68 September 16, 2024. Who is David Copperfield, everybody? He was born in Metuchen, New Jersey. Partner, Chloe Gosselin, from 2006 to the present. So I'm going to ask Mr. Copperfield, why didn't you marry her? Full name, David Seth Kotkin. So Copperfield is a stage name. He has 3 children. Mr. Copperfield, why didn't you marry Miss Chloe Gosselin? Chloe, you don't find it strange that you've been dating a man for years and he hasn't married you? So now we have to ask, how many children do we have with Chloe Gosselin? Do they have any children together? Has he been married? Are these children from other wives or relationships? Hello, Mr. Copperfield, why haven't you married this beautiful woman? She's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But yet she doesn't have a ring on her finger. Huh, what did the song say? Put a ring on it? Oh, he ain't gonna put no ring on it, honey. Because guess what? He trying to keep them coins. That's why a lot of men don't marry. They'll have up-teen children, but they not marrying not one baby mama. Well, interesting. Let's go to Sports Keto when they tell us something about this beautiful vixen here. She was born in Dreux, France. Born August 22nd, 1984. Interesting. Beautiful lady, I must say. I'm not a hater. She is beautiful. Chloe Gosselin. Chloe, what do you have to say about these allegations? They say the magician was allegedly aware Jeffrey Epstein's girls were paid to recruit others. Wow, this is new content. I didn't mean to pull that up. I thought I was going to be pulling up content about Miss Chloe. So he's the hottest story on the market right now, Mr. David Copperfield. Wow, 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 wow. So did he know Epstein? David Copperfield, a famed American magician, was allegedly aware that some of the girls in convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's circle were paid to recruit other girls. This information came to light as the previously, oh goodness, hold on, keeps jumping off. It says, this information came to light as the previously private court documents from 2015 defamation lawsuit against Epstein's partner and fellow sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell were until January 3rd, 2024. So court documents have come forward, been released in January, and now they're claiming that Mr. Copperfield knew some of the girls, or let me go make sure I repeat this properly. Since I passed bad information, false information, allegedly. Oh, nothing like a good old troll to get your day started. It said David Copperfield was allegedly aware that some of the girls in Epstein's circle were paid to recruit other girls. So did he ever meet any of these girls, have any relationships with any of these girls that knew Epstein? Where are they trying to take this commentary? According to the court documents, David Copperfield allegedly asked Johanna Sojoberg, one of Epstein's victims, if she was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls when the two met at a financier's house for dinner, the Daily Mail reported. The court documents are part of the 2015 U.S. defamation lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, against Ghislaine Maxwell. Sojoberg was also a part of the lawsuit, and a 30-page document of her deposition was also released along with the names of Epstein's associates. David Copperfield was named as one of Epstein's associates and was reportedly good friends with him. Copperfield has been with his partner, Chloe Gosselin, a former model, since 2006. They also have a daughter named Sky. So, Chloe has 47, million subscribers. Or is it 47? It says 47.5K followers, if I'm putting that right, on Instagram. Has a daughter with Mr. Copperfield. So people are going to question, why would he be talking to a young lady about procuring other women? He asked this Johanna Sojoberg if she was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls when the two met at the financier's house for dinner. So were you trying to ask her to find you someone? Is that where you all taking this information? This is what I'm trying to understand. What was the point of the conversation with the girl, Mr. Copperfield? Did you know that she found girls for Epstein? Did Epstein tell you you were good friends with him? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Mr. Epstein told you, hey, I used Susie May over here to get girls for me. And perhaps it was bait and switch in that conversation. Epstein told him about her. He went over, slick slide, slithered over to her, and made conversation. Oh, I hear you get girls for Epstein. So where did the conversation go? Curious. Born in 1984 in France, Chloe Gosselin graduated from the Fine Arts program at the School of the Calm in Belgium. According to her website, Gosselin traveled the world for a decade as an international model before returning to study shoemaking and production at Ars Suturia in Milan and the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. Very interesting. Her eponymous luxury shoe brand, which was founded in 2014, claims to perfectly blend French cool with Italian craftsmanship. Chloe Gosselin shoes have been worn by renowned celebrities like Madonna, Gwyneth Paltrow, Taylor Swift, and Kate Winslet, to name a few. So she's a shoe designer. Well, now. Well, how does she feel now? Knowing she's married to a sadist, allegedly. As per her website, Chloe Gosselin is also a member of the CFDA since July 2017, and the 2016 CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund finalist. She is also an equestrian and believes her barn with her horses to be her happy place destination, Paper City magazine reported. Speaking about Copperfield, Gosselin said, I'm so lucky to have found David. There are few people in the world like him. He's spent more than 30 years at the top of his profession. He's achieved some extraordinary things. So when did she say that about him? Because you're saying there are very few people in the world like him. Well, guess what, Chloe? There's a whole lot of people in the world like him. Because right now he's considered a sadist, a rapist. So guess what? There's a whole lot of rapists running around. Here, France, Belgium, if you get my drift. So he ain't nothing special, honey. So now we have to ask, did she have any knowledge of his infidelities with women, girls, sexual improprieties, sexual allegations of SA, drugging? What does Chloe Gosselin know about David's behavior? The family split their time between Las Vegas, New York, and Copperfield Bay, their hideaway in the Caribbean. And this is where one person, young woman, is alleging she was on this island with him where she was sexually assaulted. Now imagine being trapped on an island with a sadist and you can't get off. And you need the sadist to get off the damn island. Wow, 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 wow. According to the Daily Mail, the unsealed court documents showed alleged conversations between Johanna Soberg and David Copperfield at Epstein's house. The court documents were made public by the Southern District of New York on January 3rd at around 6:30 p.m. The documents contain statements given by Soberg in her deposition, May 18, 2016. In her deposition, Johanna Soberg stated that she was invited to dinner at Epstein's house and the chance of meeting David Copperfield. She stated, "Someone called me from the house and said that he would be there, and if I wanted to come have dinner, then I could meet him." So did she talk about David Copperfield? Was she enamored with magic? And Mr. Epstein said, "Oh, by the way, David's coming over. Would you like to come over and meet him?" What was the plan? What actually happened when she got to the house? Was there any type of sexual acts done with Epstein, anyone at the house, and also Mr. Copperfield? Just asking. Soberg alleged that David Copperfield was not at the house when she arrived, and she was waited with another girl who seemed very young to her. Well, how old was that girl? Who is she, and where is she? This is the information by the Daily Mail pertaining to what Soberg said in her disposition. I asked her what school she went to, kind of prodding to see if she went to one of the area colleges, and I did not recognize the name of the school. So I thought she could be younger than college age, but I had to assume for my own sanity that she was a daughter of one of his friends, and that would be the late Epstein. At the dinner, Soberg alleged that David Copperfield made conversation with her about Epstein and his girls. He questioned me if I was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls, she said. Wow, wow, wow. According to the Daily Mail, the 2015 defamation case by Virginia Jeffrey against Ghislaine Maxwell was settled in 2017. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. Jeffrey also reportedly sued Prince Andrew in 2021 for battery and infliction of emotional distress, alleging that he had sex with her when she was 17 years old. So that's the lady from the infamous allegation against Epstein and Prince Andrew. Johanna Soberg was also allegedly one of Epstein's victims and had accused Prince Andrew of allegedly groping her in 2001 at Epstein's New York mansion. She was allegedly falsely recruited by Maxwell for a job when she was a college student and was encouraged to interact with Epstein and Prince Andrew in a sexual manner. That damn Ghislaine, she was just, she's hideous. Ghislaine Maxwell, you are nothing but a pimptress. You're disgusting. Now, inside of this article, you're going to see a picture of Prince Andrew with his hand around a blonde-haired young lady. Ghislaine is standing in the background, just maybe not even a foot away from them. And the young lady has a bra-type shirt on, a midriff shirt, and her belly button is showing in the photograph. How does that look? Prince Andrew's hand around a young girl, and you allowed him to take the picture, but you were possibly single then, so it didn't matter, did it? But boy, did that come to bite you in your tail. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019 for reportedly prostituting young girls and died in prison in August of 2019. His death was ruled a suicide. The infamous Epstein client list, as it's called on social media, unveiled the names of several Epstein's associates, which included a barrage of celebrities like Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, David Copperfield, and Michael Jackson, The Guardian reported. Now, many people are going to say, well, just because somebody has somebody's, phone number in their black book or phone address book does not mean they were doing anything illegal or sadistic. Very true. Then the other half will say, well, let's look at the people's names that are in the book. And do they have any background in sexual improprieties, adultery, aggression, SA, so on and so forth. Bill Clinton canoodled with Monica Lewinsky in the White House. Still doesn't mean that he's a sadist or rapist, so on and so forth. Bill Gates, never heard anything bad about Bill Gates. Prince Andrew, just his linkage to Epstein. David Copperfield, many allegations now about sexual improprieties, which I never had heard of to my knowledge. And then Michael Jackson, allegations against boy children that he sexually touched them. So when you look at these few people, some of them have some intricate past. Pop star, now dead, accused, I believe, by 2 boys or so for inappropriate touching. Prince Andrew, his linkage was to Mr. Epstein, but before that, I never heard anything bad about Prince Andrew. Bill Clinton, the only thing I heard was the one girl who worked with him down in Arkansas in a government capacity said he was making advances towards her, that Paula lady, and then the infamous situation with Monica Lewinsky. But then I believe they said there were some other people or women who had said that Bill Clinton made passes at them or had some type of innuendos. Not really sure, but nothing's been put on paper and proven. That's the latest, everybody, pertaining to David Copperfield, his wife, who she is. She's a shoe designer. She has 1 child with him, girl child. He also has 2 other children. Don't know if they were by marriage or just previous relationships. What are the ages of those children? I do not know. But the point is, how does this woman feel? Because she's been dating him a very long time, and she is not married to him. And if we go back in the book from 2006, when he started dating her, that means he was dating her while these allegations were on the table. So that's not good. And you see this a lot with the men who are accused of improprieties. They have a wife, they have a girlfriend, they have children, and instead of them living their best life, in whatever that they're doing, they're out here scoping for victims to sex traffic, to drug, to sexual assault, to gang rape, film, bringing other sexual partners, prostitutes, all the things we've heard with Epstein, Weinstein, R. Kelly, now Sean Puffy Combs. And you can best believe if you've got these few famous people put on the chopping block, there are probably a slew more who are also just as sadistic. And the women, men, children were afraid to come forward for that very reason, because they are famous. That's my content today, everybody. I will be back a little later with live number 2 pertaining to this dirty New York City teacher who has decided to go to TikTok to tell the world that she doesn't care that she was fired from her previous job for sexual allegations and texting a girl student 28,000 times, 1,000+ times to a boy student. One child has brought allegations that they had oral sex in the classroom or some type of sexual act, and she thinks it's okay to go to TikTok and make videos bragging about, hey, I'm still in the school system. Hey, I'm still working. Y'all ain't done nothing to me. I'm still here. using very derogatory language, which shows me she's not rap tight. She's still a child in her mind. That's the reason why she's talking to kids endlessly all night long when she should be doing classwork or finding her a grown-ass man or woman to be with. She still has a child's mind. And that's why you're seeing a lot of cases of women being sexual sadists to children and students because they have a childlike mind. They never grew up, and they're finding some type of sick comfort ideology, make-believe relationship with our children. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous to know that parents offend their own kids, offend children. Adults offending children. But to find out that a child is being offended by their own teacher or a teacher in the schoolhouse, who do you trust? Because if you can't have people around your children at home, you can't have family members, boyfriends, cousins, grandparents, can't trust the neighbors, can't trust the people at the church, you can't trust the school teachers, God forbid you can't even trust the students because they sexually assault as well. Who can you trust with your child? Hello, what is true? Thank you. Green Eye PI, what you said? You met Copperfield. Ooh, you got to come call the queen, honey. You got to call the queen, baby. We got to talk. Call me on IG. Send me a message. The point is you don't know people. All these stories are evenly yoked in mischief and mayhem. It doesn't matter what the crime is. We have just sadistic people walking around out here. They're your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, associates, bystanders, work, play. It's all the same. You don't know people. You've heard horrendous allegations of sexual improprieties by all walks of life. Black, white, Hispanic, short, tall, foreign. It is what it is. It's a matter of, do you believe it? That's it. And when it comes to coming forward years later, 10, 15, 20 years later, and so on, yeah, people are going to question, why are you doing this? Why are you lying on this person? Why didn't you say something then? Well, more than likely, nobody would have believed them then unless the person showed, visible injuries during rape to where the police can't deny the person was, beat up, strangled. That's different. They got arm marks, neck marks. They got marks on their stomach and their rib cage to where the doctor can say, yeah, this isn't normal. Somebody broke a bone. Somebody was choked. Then they can bring forward charges. But when you just say, oh yeah, he touched me, he groped me, it's, especially a grown person saying it, oh, you liked it, you wanted it, what you doing in this hotel room? Why'd you meet him for drinks? Why'd you go to the restaurant? Once you meet the person for drinks, food, it's as if you are a willing participant. You don't even have to go to a hotel room. You don't have to invite them back to your house. You could just have gone out with him and the guy made derogatory comments. Could have touched you while you're getting up to go to the restroom. You make a claim, now you got to prove it. Now somebody's got to say, oh yeah, I saw him grab her buttocks or her breasts. Now you're getting talked about like a dog. You're being accused of trying to get money from a famous person. Now, when it comes to children, usually people will believe the allegation from a child. Because one, what do children know about sex and groping? Usually they don't know anything about that type of stuff. Even with the craftiest and savviest of children these days, if they have never been introduced to sexual improprieties, they don't readily just make up that type of allegation. So many people probably would believe a child before they would believe an adult. But still, nonetheless, it's horrific. It's got to stop. But as I said before, how are you going to stop it? You have people talking about policy changes and all this type of stuff with missing children, this and that, as in the Sebastian case. Policy starts with a person's mindset. And that's something the government has no control over. The government cannot control your mind. The government cannot control how you were raised. They cannot control that you were groomed as a child. You lived in an abusive household. Your thought process, your attraction to violence, porn, voyeurism. Do you all see where I'm going? What can the government do about that? Nothing. So everything starts from the womb. The person who carried you. Genetics. The type of people who planted the seed. Your environment. How you're treated as a child. How you're being raised. How your parents talk to you. What your parents introduced you to. What you learn from other people outside of your house, in your house. That's what forms your identity. So when you talk about policy change as far as sadism, sexual assault, you have to start with home, because home is what leads to how we act as people, as how we start off as children, how we act as adults, and how we treat people as children and adults. And the government has no control over that. I don't see any policy change except for doing due diligence to investigate an allegation. Making sure that people who have been proven as sadists, pedophiles, stay locked up. Because there's high recidivism in the United States for all types of crimes. And usually people who commit sadism, they will not change. It has been said they cannot change by scientists, medical providers, psychiatrists, so on and so forth. So once you let him or her out of jail, prison, he has the propensity to reoffend. And that's just what's been said, and I believe it. Because you see case after case after case of men assaulting children, women, adults, and then they do 6, 7 years, 15 years, whatever the number is, and as soon as they get out, they're back assaulting humans. They're on the run. They're taking off ankle bracelets. They're not registering with the sex offender registry. Of course not. Because most state laws have strict rules that you can't be around children. You can't live around children, literally. You can't live in a house with them. You can't take a job where children frequent. And you can't live so many feet of churches, schools. So where are you going to stay? The damn desert or rural America. And it's going to be hard if you're coming out of prison with no money, no funds, no job. You got to get a job. You got to stay registered. They make it hard, but that's your payback. So you can't have empathy for a person who's out here sexually assaulting individuals. You put yourself in that situation. You didn't get help when you saw that you were having issues, with fantasizing about rape, torture, children, pedophilia. You should have gotten yourself some help. It's nobody's fault that you were found guilty of the crime and now you've been released from prison and you can't find somewhere to stay. And the law says, hell no, you can't stay nowhere near a house, a schoolhouse, a nursery, a daycare. That's the law. And I think it's a good law. Because in the end, when the person decides they want to offend, it's not going to matter about a schoolhouse, a nursery, a high school, a middle school, a park. They will pounce. David Copperfield, accused of allegations of groping, drugging, raping, and grooming young girls underage. I brought you a few instances by USA Today. Feel free to check out the article in the Google search for the verification of the information. And also News Nation was played at the beginning of this live stream. What is going to become of David Copperfield? Do you believe the allegations against him? What will his wife have to say? Girlfriend, excuse me. Will she stay in a relationship with him? What about his children? What do they have to say about the allegations against their father? Will they come to his defense? Will other people come to his defense? What will people say now about Mr. Copperfield? Please go to the YouTube queue to check out Queen's short on David Copperfield. It was uploaded today for your entertainment and knowledge. Let's go to the Queen's community page and hear what you all have to say pertaining to the allegations. Please take the poll, everybody. Pinto says he's always been a creep. Well, I didn't know anything about him in that capacity. Oh my goodness, look at this update here. Peru officially categorizes transgender people as mentally ill. Oh, Queen's got to come back and talk about that. Oh my goodness. That might be a 2-part live here in a couple of hours. I will be back on with the live about the New York City teacher who has decided to go to TikTok and complain about the DOE, their handling of her sexual allegations and texting students. So we will have a really hot butter live shortly. Thank you for joining me. Do you believe the allegations against David Copperfield? Only 12 votes. 33% yes, 33% no, 33% not sure. Wow. Please take the poll, everybody. A lot of people didn't vote, but interesting that it's a tie between yes, no, and not sure. And Queen gave you 4 options. 0 of you voted for some of the allegations. So nobody voted that they believe some of them. But you all voted 33% for yes, no, and not sure. Shut your mouth. Let's go here pertaining to the New York City teacher. A New York City teacher was fired for sending 28,000 plus texts to a girl student, 1,000 plus to a boy student, and one claiming he had oral sex with her in the school classroom. Now she works for another charter school and has been bragging online how she is still working in the school sector and using foul language in regard to the DOE. It was also mentioned that she does not have a current state teaching license, which she never renewed a few years ago. Why not? This is strange because how was she hired by this current school? Should she be fired again and revoked of ever having a license in New York and any other state in the United States? You all voted 97% she should be fired from this other school. 1% says no, and 1% not sure. 3 comments. I agree with that, and this is way a lot of people don't want to send 3 children to school because of stuff like this. It's their fault. They should be charged for letting her be inside of the school. Ooh, bad English. Last month, we had a 26-year-old teacher, this is from Lindsay, having allegations, having relations with a 6th grader. The police stopped her for a time, and the little boy was in the passenger seat. Yeah, she bonded out too. My God, what happened to going to school, getting a little learning, a little lunch, a little, I guess, pie, and going on back home? What happened to that? Good googly goo. Now you got to drop your kid off and hope Miss Jennifer isn't hot in the ASS this year. I mean, who does that? I taught preschoolers and tots. Honey, those, excuse me, it's long-winded. Those are some stinky little rascals. Imagine my grown-ass, taking a 4-year-old on a date to Ruth Chris. It sounds crazy, because hell it is. That's from Lindsay 396. Lindsay, I do agree with you, but this is the world we live in. People are terrible. Phoebe replies, and be registered as a sex offender as well. Well, the thing about being registered as a sex offender, you have to first be found guilty of a crime. And that's why she's bragging on TikTok. Well, they saw the text messages. They kept me, they fired me, but yeah, I got another job. No charges were brought against me. So what's wrong with me texting that girl? Well, there's a lot wrong depending on what you're saying in the text messages. And then we have one student saying you had oral sex with him. So why would some boy come out of the blue saying he had sex with you? And they said the kids were talking about it. Each content I've read has something different than the other article. So why would a boy child, Miss Dulana, say you were having sex with him in the classroom, number one. Number two, why are you texting a girl 28,000 damn text messages in 14 months? Why? What are you talking about? So important late night. She should be asleep and you should be asleep. How about that? I don't have a problem with a student having an outside relationship with a teacher, but you still have to be careful. You as the teacher needs to be careful. The student needs to be careful. Just like I brought you content this week of a black man who was fired for having some girls unbraid his hair during class because he said he didn't have the time to take his hair down. Well, he was fired. Now, some people may say, hey, that's no big deal. He filmed it on TikTok. There are eyewitnesses to show that the girls were just taking his hair down. But some may say, hey, he's there to teach the kids. He's not supposed to be allowing the kids to canoodle in his hair. It's a hygiene issue. And it's also during class. Some other students might feel inadequate. They might get in their feelings, like he chose these girls to do his hair, so on and so forth. You're entitled to your opinion. Please take the poll pertaining to that case. The teacher being fired for allowing 4 students to take his hair down. African-American male, young guy, now without a job. How do you feel about that? Matter of fact, we're going to go to the Queen's poll and see how you all voted. Also supposed to tell you all a story of that night in IHOP that morning. Wait 1 second, everybody. Also, check out my video from yesterday. It was a 4-part live pertaining to true crime where a young girl was found in pieces here in Tennessee, discarded by her boyfriend. He had help from a guy here in Tennessee. They dumped her remains alongside our interstate and also behind a church cemetery. Her name is Brianna Winston. She has a child. She is now deceased. She's from Georgia. The boyfriend was living with her, but he was also newly married to another woman with the similar name, Brianna, with an E, in January. She also helped him get a car to come up here to dump the body, or let's say Lower Tennessee, West Tennessee. And his mother has helped, his brother has helped. They burned his shoes, his gloves. Police learned this through a jailhouse phone call. The wife was also arrested. And the guy who turned on him has gotten immunity from some charges pertaining to his role in helping discard the body. So he had a friend here in Tennessee that also helped discard the woman's remains. It's a very wicked, wicked story. Okay. Trying to find this information on this school teacher. Because I put up that poll, I wanted to hear what you all had to say about it. Okay. A black male school teacher was fired for allowing girl students to unbraid his hair during class. Was this the right decision? 85 votes. 32% yes, 45% no, 24% not sure. 4 comments. I would view it as grooming, but I'm extremely paranoid about stuff like this. Queen replied. Okay. Long story short, many moons ago, I went out to a bar that's no longer in existence. They tore it down about a few years ago, called The Alley, and it's on Kingston Pike. It was a real popular place that people frequented from, Knoxville, Knox County, different outside counties and other small towns. Well, one night after going to The Alley, I went down the street over to IHOP. That was the place a lot of us went to eat after we go to the bar. Anyway, I'm in the restaurant, and I noticed a white man sitting with a young Asian child. It was obvious she was a child. She was not a young adult. So I went over and I said something. And I said to him, is this your daughter? And he asked me, why? I said, well, I was just curious. because she looks awfully young. I said, is this your child? I'm just asking, is this your child? So he kept asking me why. See, what is wrong with his answer? Now, he may have been her father, adoptive father, guardian, and he felt like I was intrusive. And that I or whomever, I think somebody else is with me too, why are we asking him about this young girl? Well, we're asking about why are you in a fucking IHOP with a small child at 2-something, 3 in the morning? I think we could ask that question. This isn't 6, 7 o'clock, you're getting dinner for you and your kid. Stay woke, everybody. It's the time of day that you're with the little girl. And many people adopt children, foster children of different races, okay? The problem was the time of day he's in IHOP. The bar closed at 2:30. So you got to count how long it took us to get out the bar, go to the car, talk in the parking lot, whatever, and then go to IHOP, get a table. So you're talking about 3 in the morning, you're finally getting your food. Stay woke now. So you want me to sit here and believe what? You decided to wake your child up out their slumber on a weekend night to go eat at IHOP at 3 in the morning. He couldn't answer the question, and that's where I had the problem. And I think he knew we were on to him and we were watching him. So if indeed this was his child, his adoptive child, foster child, he knew they've seen me here with her. I know I'm probably on camera in here, which tells me he didn't care after he was up to no good. It just was a bad look to me. Now, one could say he was traveling. They decided to pull over, get something to eat while they get back on the highway to, go on their merry way. Maybe they just got into town and were traveling and they decided to pull over to get something to eat before getting back on the road or getting a hotel room. I don't know, but it's the way it looked. It just didn't look right. And if it was a white girl sitting at that table, I still would have been leery. The race has nothing to do with it. Let me make that clear. The race doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the fact that you have a small child in a restaurant at 3 in the morning. And then when somebody asks you if this is your child, you didn't even have the common sense to say, yes, this is my daughter. It's none of your business, but yes, this is my daughter. The only thing he kept saying is, why? Why are you asking me that? Why are you asking? Why do you think we're asking you? Because it's how it looks. Just pray that nothing bad happened with that child. If it is his child, I don't recommend going to a public restaurant at that time of the morning with your kid. And someone could say, well, you can't tell a person what to do with their child. Maybe not. But if you don't want to be accosted by people looking around and wondering what you're doing with a kid at IHOP at 3 in the morning on an early Sunday morning or Saturday morning, just use deduction. Everything is about appearance. Could have been just an innocent. They were up, running around all day and night. The little girl was up, couldn't sleep. He said, well, come on, let me take you to IHOP and get you something to eat. It's just the timing. This didn't look right. That's my personal opinion. All right, so most of you believe that the black school teacher who was fired should have been fired 32%. 45% of you said no, 24% of you were not sure. Let's go back up to a post I put up yesterday because I have something I want to say before I come off this live stream pertaining to the Sebastian Rogers case. Thank you for joining me. 28 in the house. Not a lot watching, but that's okay. Word will get out eventually. Once again, this is live number 1, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Check out yesterday's live, 4-part live. Wendy Williams, assistant principal, arrested for triple homicide, 11-year-old cold case. A peeping Tom, voyeur, breaking in women's homes, watching them sleep, and sexual battery. That was yesterday's live. And there's another topic I had in there as well. Oh, the young girl that was found murdered in Georgia. She was murdered in Georgia, then brought here to Tennessee in a burned barrel and discarded behind a cemetery on the interstate. Once again, 28% of you believe the allegations against Mr. Copperfield, 22% no, 50% not sure. This is something I posted yesterday pertaining to Seth Rogers. Because, yeah, I was pissed off yesterday with people coming on to my channel telling me about the bicycle motorcycle debacle. So this is my response to those busy people. FYI, my video asking if Seth Rogers bought a bike was just that. Nowhere in my commentary did I say he did. I said if. I watched Seth speak about the May 19th ride for Sebastian, so obviously some of you nutters can't hear very well. I based this video, like most of my content and my shorts, from Seth, his mom, Tony, PIs, Proudfoots, etc., and comments and questions. I do not put my stamp on anything said by these people, YouTubers, or commenters. Don't ever come onto my channel to tell me what I can ask, repeat, or say in my videos. No one has been truthful about a damn thing in this case, period. And the GoFundMe is down because of the naysayers. Seth shut down the GoFundMe because of naysayers, which was not me. If he is legit, he didn't have to take it down. Another thing, for you busybodies that did not follow my content, I supported Seth receiving donations because he was not working. So take that to the bank and clean your ears out while you're at it. And that was my commentary. Gigi said, I heard you more than once. You said if people need to stop being so extra, carry on. Gonna put a heart by that. Cat Turd said 100, 100. Queen replied, I think, with a wink emoji. Somebody says, and this is by Tracy Joe, who comments a lot on my commentary. I wanted to comment to those negative Nellies, but didn't want to stoop to their level. I also respect you too much to do that. They aren't regular viewers of your great content, that's for sure. And I'm going to reply, exactly. And that is the point. You come onto this network and you don't follow my content, for one, but even if you didn't follow my content, you should be able to read and comprehend, okay? You should be able to read and comprehend. Ronnie replies, I'm going to add this. If he did, he would be wrong, okay? Somebody else replied, people are getting way out of hand. Somebody else replied, laugh out loud. Somebody said, Ronnie again, I never heard you say that he did. People don't effing listen or pay attention to anything. I heard if, shaking my head. Thank you very much for that, Ronnie, 4774. Somebody else said, oh, smart to me. If someone didn't have a guilty heart, they would not be so quick to anger. Check yourself before you accuse the queen. Stop attacking people you do not know. It makes you look bad. Exactly. You all saw the title of the video, and instead of you having some type of common damn sense and listen to the content, which on a few minutes into the live stream, I said, if, you would be wrong. That's my opinion. I watched the Pascal show. I heard what he said. I heard about the ride, the motorcycle, all of that. I made the video because of somebody's comment in the chat. And I said to you all days ago that I will bring content to the network according to your comments, your questions, allegations in the case. But it does not mean that the allegations are true. It does not mean I agree with the allegations. It does not mean I put my stamp on the allegations, and nor do I put my stamp or agreement on your comments or your questions. So I find it interesting that Mr. Proudfoot can go on and on on live streams talking bad about the boy child, Sebastian, telling all his business about Katie being bipolar, this and that. I don't even keep up with the stuff he talks about. But as soon as Queen makes a video saying, don't tell me you bought a motorcycle, it's a question. It's not a statement. And if you finish 12th grade English, you would know a statement from a question. One has a period and one has a question mark. Hell yeah, your comment ain't gonna sit on that damn video, because the video was self-explanatory. If he bought a motorcycle, it would be wrong. And that's my opinion, because my thing is this. I don't have a problem with the donations. I've said it before, and I'm not gonna keep saying it. I had no problem with anybody donating money to Seth Rogers for bills, making flyers, things like that. But not motorcycles, a fucking $100,000 Maybach. So for some other busybody that had something to say, I can donate to who I want to, and they can do whatever they want with the money. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him and whomever else gets donation money, and they go buy something outlandish while people are out there searching for their kid. So it's easy to sit up and say what a person should and shouldn't do with the money. Oh, they can do what they want with the money. We know they can do what they want with the money. But the point is, there are people out here who are barely living, and they don't have money to just give a motherfucker to go buy a fucking motorcycle, a bicycle, a tricycle, a fucking F-150, or whatever big boy style truck, a new house, whatever. It's principle. It's principle. You would flip your lid if you donated $20, $100 to a person who has a missing child, allegedly, and then you find out 1 week later, 5 weeks later, a month, whatever, they went and bought a fucking $60,000 car or a $60,000 motorcycle, you would flip your fucking lid, and you a liar if you say you wouldn't be upset. You a damn liar. And I'm not saying he bought a motorcycle. I'm not saying he bought a motorcycle, a car, a Corvette. I said if he did. And I based that video on someone's comment in the chat. I had no proof he bought a motorcycle, and I never said he bought one. So I want to clarify that during this live stream before you spread my fucking name around YouTube saying, oh, that lady's over there lying and passing false information. You people love to pick and choose who you want to believe stuff from. Now, if it was the Proudfoots taking money, you'd talk about them like a damn dog. Oh, they got a GoFundMe. They got a Cash App up. Don't donate to her. Because a lot of you believe that they're guilty of hurting the boy and discarding the boy. Some of you. So what's the difference between the Proudfoots having a Cash App or donation versus Seth? The point is, you don't know none of these people. And as of late, it's too much coming out about this boy allegedly, where it looks like everyone has a part to play in the rearing of the child, and it was neglect and abuse. And that's not fiction, and that's not made up. And in many cases where CPS is involved, somebody slips through the crack as the perpetrator. And I got a feeling that's exactly what has happened in this case, because you have to use deduction. Many cases of missing children and severely abused children, you will see that CPS has investigated the family and they didn't find any wrongdoing. And then later, the child is found missing or dead. And that's the bottom damn line. And that's the bottom line. Thank you, honey. So just because the Proudfoots haven't been arrested for abuse, neglect, or the disappearance of the boy, that's including Seth as well, that does not mean the child was not mistreated. That does not mean he wasn't talked down to, pushed, shoved, pinched, whooped, put outside, locked up in a room, locked in a garage, whichsoever, it doesn't mean he wasn't mistreated, and that's the point. And you can be mistreated slightly, poorly, or vigorously. It's a matter of what CPS can prove. So that's why I wanted to clear the air, clear my throat about the motorcycle video. And nobody has a right to come over here and tell me what the fuck I can put up on my channel as far as a question pertaining to true crime. Because everybody in the YouTube queue has asked a question about true crime and the people in the story. So just like when you say, where is Sebastian? Is he alive? Did the Proudfoots do it? Did the father do it? Was he lured? Was it a prank? Whatever question you ask, it's just that, it's a question. And if you can't read, then you don't need to be watching true crime. And frankly, you don't even need to be watching YouTube if you can't decipher between a statement and a question. And if you can't comprehend English during a damn live stream and an uploaded video or short, once again, you don't need to be watching YouTube. You don't need to be watching social media. You don't need to be reading any damn thing. And you sure as hell don't need to be commenting. And that's my take on the Seth Rogers debacle and the motorcycle. If he bought a motorcycle, oh damn well. Guess what? It ain't affecting Queen. Because Seth Rogers don't feed me. He don't feed me. The Proudfoots don't. Seth's mama don't. Don't nobody do shit for me. And frankly, it ain't nothing but dimes up here talking about anything on this YouTube box. But anywho, I thank you all for your support. Thank all new subs, viewers, old viewers, people just passing through. Thank you for your support. Please check out my shorts. The new thing I do now is I make shorts pertaining to any live stream. That way, if a person don't want to sit through the videos, they can get 15 seconds of the storyline, and then they can go in and do their own research pertaining to the story. Know that most true crime stories are ever evolving. What one news entity has pertaining to a story, another one will have different information, such as what you're hearing about Mr. David Copperfield. There will be some articles that talk mainly about the incident from 1988. And then there'll be some that'll talk about all the allegations. You're entitled to your interpretation of the information. You're also entitled to your interpretation of the Sebastian Rogers case, your interpretation of the parents' involvement, non-involvement, mistreatment, abuse of the child, and if the motherfucker bought a bicycle or not. How about that? Yeah, that pissed me off yesterday because I was like, these people can't even read worth a damn. It's like, what in the hell? All the work I put into my content, and you can't even read a title properly, and you can't even decipher the information. That's just crazy to me. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below, take the polls on my community page. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign again to 129 Cash App. Stickers or chats, I always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for the few people who tune into this live stream. Thank you, Mr. Chris Thorns, for following this network and jumping in the live. Please check out Mr. Chris Thorns. He's an advocate for children's rights. Most of his content is pertaining to abuse and neglect of said children. And also check out Mr. AB, coming out of Canada. Crisp Bacon is what I call him. He is commenting and uploading content vigorously pertaining to the Sebastian Rogers case and the utter nonsense that befalls YouTubers. Lord have mercy. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to The Vault XL.